Hello, today we're going to get close up and personal with flora in my garden. Going to give you some tips on how you take great pictures of flowers and to bring a little bit of happiness into your life, and hopefully just forget for a few moments this isolation and this staying at home on our own. So whether you want to photograph at home, in the garden or your neighbourhood, what are the advantages of photographing flowers? Well, one advantage is of course that they tend to stay in one place. They don't move around a lot. They're always on the same spot whenever you go back. They're full of colour and they offer you wonderful shapes. And of course flowers are just nice to look at. There is a downside of course, like there is in most things in photography. You need to move in close when you want to capture them. And with any camera, this can help to increase the accuracy in your focusing, because your focus point has to be more spot on. In other words, you have less leeway. If you go forwards or backwards, the focusing is going to shift. We call this depth of field, and we're going to cover that in a later video. Also, if it's breezy like it is today, any breeze can help blur your picture, and that in turn will also affect your depth of field, or how sharp or in focus that photograph is. So to use a tripod like I am today, you don't need a tripod of course, you just need some way of keeping your camera still. If you're using a camera phone, that's not so bad. You just tend to have to hold your body in such a way and turn your own body into a tripod. Alternatively, you can put a cushion, perhaps if you're photographing a flower from down low, you can place a cushion in front of you, between you and the flower, and then you can rest your camera on it, and that's also a great way of doing it as well. But the point is, you really have to, almost the best way to do it, professional photographers tend to do, is just to hold their breath while they're taking the picture. And that way you're sort of assuring yourself that your body's going to be still during the photograph. The closer you are, as I said earlier, as a rule of thumb this is, the shutter will be open for a longer time. This also means you can get camera movement, which is why you need to hold your camera still. Be patient, but of course we're all getting used to being patient, aren't we, at the moment, because, well, all this isolation and the time ticking past very slowly, you're going to be great at that. The reason I say be patient is because being patient, it really will give you the best shot. In this case, the breeze is the enemy. So you really have to wait until the breeze goes. Now there are sometimes when you might want the flowers to be blurred, but that's when breeze is good, and it will help improve your picture and will make it look artistic, and it can be quite nice and wispy. So the trick is just to keep experimenting as you go along. Decide on your composition, groups of flowers or a single flower, depending on what you want to show. The sort of view, if you came in close, perhaps you might want the sort of view perhaps an insect would have when it goes in close to a plant. They always look quite good on the cameras as well. On bright days you might need to soften the light by holding a sheet of white paper above your plant. Alternatively, you can use it to bounce light into your plant. I tend to use what we call a reflector when I'm photographing, and I just use that, and that will reflect a nice light up into a plant. Sometimes you don't want sunshine. On the other times, there's times when sunshine really helps, because if you have sunlight behind your plant, your flower, you're going to get a nice abstracty effect, and you see the colours in a sort of transparent way. Alternatively, if you want to show the detail in the flower, then you probably need a nice soft light overhead, and that way you can see the different details in the petal of a flower. Now, flowers aren't, as you're probably working out, they're not the easiest objects to photograph. Sometimes you can overload the picture with far too much detail, and they tend to look too busy, and they're complicated, and it doesn't really portray to the viewer what you're trying to show. So if you feel that's the case, what you can do is change your angle so that the emphasis is on one single flower rather than a group of them. Always keep checking your picture back in your viewfinder, and then check it back on your screen, and you can adjust the exposure, because what you really want to see, you don't want any part of your picture to be too overexposed. You need to focus on the detail you want to show. So some camera meters aren't accurate enough when you're working close up, so you just keep checking, as I say, that picture, and if the detail you want to show is underexposed, which is where it's too dark, you need to then go plus on your camera and take it open a little bit. You'll find a plus and minus and aperture control, and then you can do alternatively, if it's too, particularly with white flowers in sunlight, what tends to happen there is that there may well be not enough detail in the flower, so you then need to what we call stop down, which is go to once again the plus and minus, and you need to go minus and keep going. Sometimes you might have to go down 2 increments, okay? So just keep trying. That's a great thing with plants, they're always there and you can watch them under different lights. And also when you come to experiment with different lighting, when you're photographing with the sun behind a subject, then what you need to do of course is to beware of the sun. Never ever look at the sun through your camera unless you're blocking it with a flower or a leaf perhaps, or a twig. Now for those of us who aren't perhaps lucky enough to have a garden, you can always photograph flowers in pots and vases, and the great thing about photographing this is that you can move them around into different locations around your home, your balcony or out and about, and you can try them in different lights. This little chap here I photographed yesterday with the sun behind him, and he's so tiny, but actually this flower has made this particular flower has made a superb shot for me, this one here. And of course when you're out and about on your daily exercise, your 1 hour of out and about around your neighbourhood, trees and shrubs in your local park or on your local roadside, they can also offer some stunning close-ups. Buds, new leaves, new seeds, all that sort of stuff. Trees are beautiful, particularly at this time of year, because they're really coming alive, and actually it's quite uplifting, so it's something you can do if you're out and about for children every day. Thank you to everyone who's been sending their photographs in, and now this is this week's viewers gallery you can have a look at now. Thank you for those pictures, do keep them coming in, and if you'd like to subscribe to future videos here on our YouTube channel, please click on the icon here and you'll keep up to date with what we've got coming for you. And if you'd like to take part in this week's challenge, well you can, yep, you and your family can take part. The idea is, can you take the best close-up shot you've ever taken of any part of a plant, tree or shrub or flower? Do keep sending me your pictures. You can email them to me at phil@philmynottphoto.co.uk. Alternatively, you can send them to me via my Facebook page. Looking forward to seeing you again soon on our next video. Stay safe and don't forget, there's no such thing as bad light, just bad photographers.